The usual caveat with annual sports games is that any changes advertised prior to release are usually incremental. At worst, it's the same game reskinned with updated kits, but at best, occasionally at least, the annual refresh is so colossal in scope that it truly feels like a brand new game. EA Sports' Madden NFL 26 is that game, an annual sports title that cannot in any way be accused of reskinning last year's. Now, we've already covered all there is to know before you buy NFL 26 in another feature, but broad is 26's suite of updates and overhauls that were also able to bring you 15 of the biggest differences NFL 26 has over its predecessor. Past-gen consoles dropped. Announced on the 24th of April with a release date of the 14th of August, Madden NFL 26 will be the first of EA Sports' American football sims to release exclusively on current generation consoles alongside PC. So whilst PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S players get to experience this year's overhaul at the expense of PS4 and Xbox One owners, included in the current gen crop for the first time since Madden NFL 13 are Nintendo players with a Switch 2 release. Quicker loading times. Perhaps not the most glamorous of NFL 26's innovations, but it's something the development team have treated as a top priority: quicker loading times. They acknowledged last year's loading screens were sluggish, so early on in 26's development cycle, the team placed a lot of effort into tracking loading times, identifying specific issues related to loading, and fixing them there and then. Again, not the most exciting thing, but quicker loading screens will certainly be welcome. Coach abilities. Amongst Madden NFL 26's headline additions is a Coach Abilities metagame, designed to replicate the skills, traits, and characteristics displayed by real-life NFL coaches on a weekly basis. Coach Abilities come in two flavors, namely Game Day Abilities and Season Abilities. The latter we've covered in our 15 things you need to know before you buy feature, but for Game Day Abilities, of which there are 46, split between offense and defense, these are changes that'll directly impact your team during games beyond simple attribute boosts. Opposing Coach DNA and real-time coaching AI. Adding authenticity and unpredictability to every match's NFL 26's opposing coach DNA and real-time coaching AI innovations. The former translates nearly a decade's worth of real NFL data into predictive systems capable of mirroring strategic calls and plays the sports coaches will make in the heat of the moment. Repetitive CPU play calling is, as EA Sports put it, gone for good. Real-time coaching AI boosts authenticity further via providing dynamically evolving strategic experiences. For example, defenses can now mask their intentions, forcing the attacking team to read the post-snap play in real time. Redesigned weekly strategy. The most substantial drawback of Madden's weekly strategy in their former guise was that they didn't place enough emphasis on actual strategy. Now, keeping the new coach abilities in mind, NFL 26's weekly strategy has received a major redesign. Staff, playsheet, and trainer loadouts offer places to stack abilities, but it's the matchup panel offering in-depth insight tailored to your next opponents, which will inform your loadout decisions. Building the perfect game plan is now at its most intuitive and most satisfying. Player traits. How AI players behave on field has received an overhaul in NFL 26 too, thanks to re-engineered player traits. Now, these player traits won't affect the outcome of on-field situations, but they do influence how AI athletes respond to specific situations. With over 50 unique player traits at launch, the idea here is to add a true-to-life feel with each and every play. Much like NFL 26's new opposing coach DNA, player traits here are rooted in real-life NFL data. Dynamic injury status. Building on NFL 26's redesigned weekly strategy, player injuries now evolve more realistically over time. For instance, they could improve or get worse week by week. EA Sports' intention here is for newfound levels of unpredictability on player availability. However, the cards are still in players' hands though. Within Weekly Strategy's training system, you can opt injured players out of training instead of only being able to adjust training groups based on position. It's another nod towards a more deeper, more meaningful strategic calls, with individual player statuses updated in real time following every training session. Trainer roles and abilities. NFL 26 boasts more control over player health than ever before. Via another addition to weekly strategy, trainer abilities play a crucial role in ensuring whether your team is fighting fit or not each week. Ensuring you have the right training staff and choosing the most appropriate trainer abilities for your team are crucial to protecting your roster both on game day and during the week's training sessions. Expanded game day experience. One thing the success of EA Sports' other football game, college football, has shown us is that other players value authentic pre-game presentation and coverage. So it surely was with great pride that EA Sports announced during their franchise deep dive presentation that primetime broadcast packages for Thursday, Sunday, and Monday games are incoming. Custom broadcast elements specific to each day's primetime coverage aim to revamp Madden's game day authenticity. Different looks, sounds via day-specific commentary teams, and atmospheres attributed to each day should be amongst 26's most welcome additions. Halftime reports. Highlights from across the league will now be shown during halftime reports, and this edition moves beyond CPU highlights to also including your friends' games highlights if you're logged into a multi-user online league. Your friends' customized player cards will appear on screen during their game's highlights too. Hosted by the ever-enthusiastic Scott Hansen, halftime reports are set to maximize the enjoyment of actually playing Madden. Together with the game's expanded game day experience, players are going to feel as though they're participating in a real-life NFL TV broadcast. Weekly recaps. Available on demand in NFL 26's Franchise Hub, weekly recaps give more opportunity to experience highlights from other games for both CPU-controlled and friends games if logged into a multi-user online league. Moreover, host Scott Hansen will provide a broad overview of how each team is faring in the league, with updates adjusting depending on how far along into a season you are, which squads are on a win streak, who's in line for a postseason spot, who's already looking ahead to next season. Scott will wrap it all there is to know in weekly recaps. Retool Defensive AI. Yet another new introduction is the ability to customize defensive zones, allowing players to manually adjust where zone defenders will drop before the snap. The idea here is to give players more opportunity to tailor their defensive strategies in real time to specific offensive plays. Repositioning zones, adjusting zone depth, and areas of responsibility for individual athletes will be the methods players deploy to counter specific offensive plays. Improved draft logic. To make drafts in Madden 26 feel more realistic than ever, the development team at EA Sports have studied a couple of years' worth of real-life NFL draft data and trends to identify patterns which can then be replicated in-game. Examples include the tendency for certain teams to double down on certain positions, or how teams are investing heavily on interior defensive lines, or how there's been a shift in recent years to valuing running backs. Revamped player logic. Updates to retirement, progression, and regression logic are incoming, with the goal here being to smooth out some of the more unrealistic circumstances that had happened in-game. For instance, rejigged retirement logic aims to stop veteran players from retiring too early, or, conversely, ensure players well past their prime don't continue playing indefinitely. Player regression will now follow real-life aging curves more closely, with decline rates mirroring actual NFL position data. For regression, players can only drop one development tier during the off-season. Improved news stories. Delivering the most engaging news stories week in, week out has been a high priority for EA Sports. Understandable given the vastness of updates coming in this year's iteration. Stories added to Franchise Central are embellished this year with visual interest, but new stories in the form of weather forecast and draft prospect top stories will provide easy to understand information on two of NFL 26's most vital new features. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.